And as Zach Prescott would say, here we go. Here we go. Today, December 13, 2023, this is recording 613, entitled, That You Might Have Life Everlasting. That you might have life everlasting. This particular offering is going to tag team on, I think, what we did this past Sunday, where I spoke about, it's this Sunday in John chapter 12, where Jesus is out amongst the people and a voice speaks. And the voice spoke, and Jesus is saying, now is my soul troubled, in verse 27, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. But for this cause came I unto this hour. Now keep in mind now what he just said. For this cause came I into this hour, which means that the crucifixion is right down the road. Then we have him on the cross saying, Father, why you leave me? So we pretty much know he knows that God is not going to leave him, because here he is a few days or weeks earlier saying, for this cause came I unto this hour, this time. Then he says, Father, glorify thy name. Then came there a voice from heaven saying, I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. The people, therefore, that stood by and heard it said that it thundered. Others said an angel spake to him. Jesus answered and said, this voice came not because of me, but for your sakes. Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out. And I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. Now, one thing we need to understand about what I just read, it says that the people heard. They heard. And in that instant, think about it, they had to be in the presence of God to hear the voice. They had to be there, because no man can hear God except he be wherever God is. So these people, in an instant in time, given the opportunity to acknowledge that which they had been seeking, was right there, identifying itself. And some said, what? It thundered. And some said, an angel spoke. But none of them said, that was my Father. That was my Father speaking to me. Yep. There was a decree that went out to satisfy all men. And I say to you right now, at some point in time, you have heard this voice and you have talked it right out of your conscience that I thought I saw a putty cat. I thought I heard a putty cat. But you know what you heard. There was a decree. What did Jesus say? Now is the prince of this world judged. Now, this is a decree that was sent out of the mouth of Jesus. But before the mouth of Jesus spoke it, the mouth of the Father spoke it, and he spoke it to the people in their hearing. It's much like where we are today. We just refuse to accept that decree went out, and we continue to live lives that are not enjoyable. I am come that you might have life and have or enjoy it abundantly. Who said that? Jesus. If Jesus is come that we might have life and we might have it abundantly, why then are we waiting on something to happen after we die that we might enjoy life and enjoy it abundantly? See how we refuse? See how we say, oh, it thundered. Or, get this, the voice spoke to him. It was for him. Why would the voice speak to someone who is already enjoying the abundant life? Why would it speak to him again to say, I am come that you, Jesus, might have the abundant life? No. The voice has come to us. Now, let me just show you how we get victimized. As small children, we witness what we believe is the abundant life. We even believed that we were living that life and would continue to do so as we entered maturity. But sadly came the realization that the abundant life we were experiencing was a life of receiving gifts from those who loved us and were responsible for our welfare. You need to get that. Most children, I ain't going to say most, but a lot of small children live what is called an abundant life because we shower them on their birthday, we shower them at Christmas, we shower them with theme parks, and we shower them with clothes and Jordan shoes. We shower them and shower them and shower them until they reach basically the age of 18. And what do they have in their consciousness? I am living the abundant life. I know a young man who was people were so jealous of him all through his high school years that they would even pick fights with him because he was showered. He was basically an only child, and therefore his grandmother just showered on him any and everything he wanted to. He probably didn't have to wear the same thing twice. If he did, it was because he just had a liking for it. But the bottom line was, when we reach 18, what happens? We find out that they're telling us that we now have to go out. We have got to go out and live this life if we want to live the life that we have been enjoying basically for 18 years. If only that course of living could continue. Oh, if only we as individuals could continue to live such a life after we basically graduate from what they say, high school. For even though many were making sacrifices that we would have an abundantly blessed experience, the reality is that that is exactly the way we are to live. Not with people making sacrifices, but with the one who glorified the name and continues to glorify it, and the one who spoke that now is the judgment of this world and the ugly enemy is cast out. Yes. I hope you can see it, the parallel. One sacrifice that does away with every worldly concern. It's most unfortunate that we have not been taught that. You see, many parents go through making sacrifices to make sure their children have an abundant life, but the child does not know of these sacrifices. They're just enjoying the life. When that child gets to be of some age close to maturity, he is now told that you need to get out and now begin to make your way. I will assist you, but you need to make your own way. How unfortunate was it and remains to this day that the sacrifice has been so misunderstood and undervalued that we have become harnessed by a tyrant called the grind. See, I know you thought I was going to say devil, but you have to know that I know. There's no such thing. For there to be a devil, then God would have to have created it. And if God created it, he would have to know that it would turn on him and take hold of his creation. You don't believe me? Go ask anybody who's running this world, and they'll tell you, that's right, they'll tell you it's the devil, which shows that he is more powerful than God. Oh, no, Rev, he's not. But he is, isn't he, if we look at it that way? Because God doesn't seem to be doing anything. Look at all the prayers that we got stored up. As Steve Harvey would say, when the person got to heaven, what happened? He was walking down the hallway, and there was a door with his name in there, with this person's name on it, and he asked St. Peter or whoever, what's behind that door? And it says, all of your unanswered prayers. Come on. Ask what you will, and I will give it to you. Before you ask, I will give it to you. Why? Because I sent out a decree that said that my name was glorified. When? When I am. Before the foundation of the world was that name glorified. And I will glorify it again. When? When my people awaken to the realization that that glorified name is within all of my creation, which they are. Wow. And here we are harnessed up with the grind, looking for, I was just thinking about one of my bosses as I chased this rabbit. Well, 1, 2, 3 of my bosses. Every year when it came time for the raises and whatnot, the money always gave out when it got to me. And I wonder, what would they say if I were to look at them and say, oh, you want me to be nice to you? You want me to be this wonderful person? When you would not give me any not even 1%, nothing. Told me the money gave out. And you see, that's the thing that people kind of cover themselves with, well, you know, that was, no, I'm a person. And you know what? I am so glad that God does not even give me the ability now to hold that against them. Back then, I didn't understand it until this one person came into my life and told me, this is what's going to happen in your life, and you just need to be patient and watch it. And over a span of 10 or 12 years, I had many dark nights. But you know one thing that helped me was the fact that what that person told me continued to happen, and it kept me focused. But let's get back to those early days. Now, every person has not seen or become the unwitting or unwilling victim of the aforementioned experience. What do I mean? Some people were born into ugliness, and that's all they ever saw. Ugly horrors from birth. Some seem to escape because of family inherited valuables, sacrifices like I mentioned before, that allowed them to continue partaking of the abundant objects that make up the visible scene. However, and some were born into what we call riches. Well, let's not forget them. So they seem to just go right on enjoying the abundant life. But I want you to understand, the life that they deemed abundant was a life of objects, accumulations, power and influence over other people. However, none of them, poor, gifted somewhat, or rich, were able to escape the ever-present threat of fear, hurt, harm, endangerment, and even death. Why? Because the life abundantly presented has not been recognized as a real and true reality. I'm going to repeat that. Why were these people, even though some didn't enjoy, some enjoyed through sacrifice, and some continued, it was all about the Benjamins. It was all about the availability of visible, valuable paper or influence that brought these things or did not bring these things into some people's lives. But the decree had gone out. And none of them were able to escape the ugly horrors of the grind. Why? Because they failed, as the Bible says, to mix faith with their intellectual agreement. There are some of us that are not going to make it simply because we are choosing to not make it because we think that someone has done something and we're never going to forgive, forget, make a way. We're never going to do anything. And therefore, we are harnessing ourselves with a shackle that keeps us from enjoying the abundant life. The scriptures teach us, hint at, point at multiple and various lessons that, if practiced, would reveal the wonderment of a promise that would cause all unrest to cease. Most go by us as undoable. I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. Can you imagine? The scriptures say, if you do this, this will happen. No, I don't want to do that. Like I had a man tell me, no, sir, you're talking that stuff out of the Bible. And this man is a musical director in a couple of churches. My people are drawn to me. They come to me, but their heart, they keep away. Not knowing, we have been victimized by carrying within our consciousness the successes and failure thoughts, the successful and failure thoughts that satisfy or cause harm. What do I mean by that? You are the judge that determines your good or your bad. Why? Because we have been given the ability to carry within our conscience success because we love God and will do what he says, or failure because we are afraid of some entity out there, or the fact that we see so much failure out there that we know that I have to protect myself. But the bottom line is, look at where this is being carried. You really need to focus on what I'm saying now. Because if you believe there's a God out there that you're praying to, you better stop. You need to stop. Because if he's anything like the God I pray to out there, I'm not saying there's not a God. Don't get me wrong. What I am saying is, if that God that you're praying to and he is not answering in the affirmative, and you're trying your best, you need to throw that aside. Is there a God? You better believe there's a God. Where is he? Is within me, is in all things. So what do? I need to get myself to the place where I can feel, where I can be touched by, or I can touch, or I can hear, or I can see his presence. I need to get myself to the point to where when the presence of God around, I can hear the voice. Remember now, Jesus said to the people, my soul is troubled. Shall I ask the Father to glorify? And the Father speaks. Now, the Father did not only speak to Jesus, for if he had only spoken to Jesus, then Jesus would have been the only one that heard. But the people heard. I need to put myself at a place where I can hear. And where is that place? In acceptance of who God says I am. Well, Rev, that's too simple. Hey, these people were not even accepting who they thought they were, and the voice spoke, giving them what? Opportunity to say, wow, God spoke. God spoke. It's most unfortunate that our failures, as I said a little earlier, seem to outweigh our successes. Why? Because we can't focus on the goodness of our success for looking now as, well, what's next? Yes, we are our own worst enemy. How do we turn the tide? By pouring, here we go, y'all, by pouring our every waking attention to the fact that we are the salt of the earth, that we give flavor to all that exists. But first, we must be raised from this dead level of life, that others, by seeing our light and our good works, might also be raised. I hope you heard in that. Our position is not simply for us to be raised to live the good life. It's that the God that we are worshiping would be recognized, that their lives would be raised to a level to where they too enjoy this life. Point, the lady with the issue of blood. If you recall, she didn't ask Jesus to heal her. She didn't come up and say, excuse me, can I have a word with the master? What had happened with her? The voice had spoken to her within her being and said, touch me, touch me. She took that word, touch me, and turned it into a concept by which she says, I just need to touch the hem of his garment. Why? Because he is light. He is wholeness. He is the abundant life. He is the glorification of the light being. He is the glorification of God. If I can just touch it. And when she touched the hem, as though he was being tousled and bumped around by all of those people, she touched the hem of his garment and he felt it. And when he felt it, he said, who touched me? As though he didn't know. How can God not know who touched him? That was just for her to stand from a dead level and be raised up to life everlasting. You see, the abundant life is not measured in successes and obtained tangibles, but it is a realized conscious awareness that we are kings and priests deserving the grand identification as sons of the Most High. We focus our attention on the one, and none else. No matter what betide, the one. The one, and that is all. The one that is all giving. The one that is all loving. I thought that I knew somewhat until it came to me yesterday. And I'm practicing this. To go into a specific, what I call meditative position, and just look at God. Glorify God with your thought. Look at God and say, Thou art. Thou art that which stands behind everything seen and unseen. Thou art the creator. Thou art the law, the government. I look at thee and realize nothing can exist except you exist in it, as it. And if you are not in or as it, then it must show its non-existence. It must fade. I will not look at what this person is doing because now I've looked away from you. No, I'm going to look at you. And a little voice on your left shoulder is going to say, but what about? And you say, no, I'm going to look at you, God. I will not take my eyes off you because your presence is all I'm concerned with. I need you to think about this. As I continue to look at God, there will come a moving within me. There will come something that lets me know that I'm looking at God. Then there will become a tugging from the old man that says, look over it. No, because if I look over there, I'm going to try to figure out something to do. But if I look at God, I'm looking at that which is. I'm looking at that which need not have me ask anything of it. I'm looking at that which says I am that I am. I'm looking at that says go, for I am with you. Be not afraid. I will continue to look at it knowing that it goes before me to make the crooked path straight. Yeah, but what? No, I'm not going to look at you. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at that which glorifies my soul. I'm looking at that which is, which has always been. I'm looking at that says, take no thought for your life. Take no thought, for I am with you. I am glorified, and I will continue to be glorified as long as you look at me. But if I look at you, can I be convinced that what I need? Keep looking at me. Don't look to the left. Don't look at the right. Look at me. Continue to look at me. And let your trust, let it rest. Let it rest in looking at me. For as you look at me, know that I am God. I am that I am. And above all, I am come that you might have life. I am come because of the judgment that I bring. There you go. You see it, don't you? Because you're looking at me, the prince of this world is judged, cast out. As I look in my head, now I realize that I am the temple of the living God. And I carry within the holy seat of the temple my blessing. And I see a bunch of money changers there also. But if I continue to look at him whose right it is to sit on the throne, aren't the money changers' tables overturned? Aren't the money changers and the briberies and the tax, the thieves, aren't they disrupted? And they're cast out, not by me doing anything, and yet by me doing the main thing. looking at him. For as I look at him, I realize I live and move and have my being in that which is the life abundant, the one. Hard it may seem to accept and believe that God need not do anything to prove himself as the one. If he need not do anything, I only need do one thing, right? And that's what? Look at him. It matters not if that car is coming down the road and it looks like, no, I see the car. And if I need to move or to the left or to the right, I will look back at him and realize that God has not created an accident. I will either hear a voice or be moved to do something or to stand still and behold. For as I look at him, I realize this is the decree. It's presenting itself. It's executing itself. It's judging the prince of this world. Why? Because it's only allowing me to see and to feel and partake of the abundant life, the one, all living. I will consider no other resolution but the understanding that the one is all that needs to be held in conscious awareness. Splitting hairs, I'm simply saying, as many times in a day as you can, sit and look at the one. But look at the one expecting the one to express himself, itself, herself, however you want to refer, within your conscience. Will he appear? Will it appear? Yes. Yes, it will. Why? Because all that I have is thine. And I have placed everything under your dominion. I can decide to throw the failures out, but I don't have to grab them one by one. I only need to look at the one who causes my soul to pulsate, the one that causes my heart to skip a beat. And I will continue to look. Continue to look. Why? Because my conscious awareness of the presence of God makes me one with every spiritual and grand idea that God has, and that conscious awareness and knowing will express itself as my life experience, which will be the life abundant, not measured in obstacles, tangibles, but measured in the soulish elation that I have found that which my soul is satisfied by. Consciously aware that God is the abundant life. God bless you. Now let's have a moment of glorification. Thank you, Father, for my eyes now see thee. I will look to the hills for every moment that is given to me to recognize. I will allow I will allow that moment to be wrapped in you. To not be moved, but to persistently pull myself to look at you. To look at you, knowing that this is the prayer. This is the victory that overcomes the world. This is the abundant life that causes me to know that whatsoever I ask, or even before I ask, you have glorified your name and will continue to glorify it, and will bring into expression that I am a light being. But I need no one know that. I simply carry this secretly and sacredly within myself, that as you decide, that salt will flavor the lives of all that I come in contact with. I will not choose who I will be friendly with. I will not choose who I will have enemies, because I have none. I have but one friend. And thank you that even though I'm your child, I am also your friend. And being your friend, you reveal all things that make your life happy and abundant, and share with me the abundant life. Thank you, Father, for my cup overflows. Speak, Lord. Your servant is listening.